Well, thanks for taking a few minutes to connect and share a bit about your story today. Appreciate it.
Certainly. I've sort of jotted down some notes.
Oh, good. Well, let's start by those who haven't heard your story before or aren't familiar with you, how you came to be a part of the Westwood Church family. When was that?
I began attending Westwood United Methodist Church when I was in my senior year at UCLA. I was enthralled with Dr. Melvin Wheatley, the senior minister at the time, who gave incredible sermons challenging people to think about important social issues. This was far different from the fundamentalist Baptist church, which I had attended off and on as a child. I found the congregation to be welcoming, and I joined the church in December of 1964.
1964, so help me with
52 years.
I was just going to say, help me with the math here. 52 years. That is amazing, Betty.
Well, it'll be 52 years obviously in December, but 51 and a half.
I love it. You have obviously experienced a lot of different transitions and experiences in the congregation. If you were to describe Westwood to someone in its current form, how would you describe it to them if they've, perhaps never been before?
Well, over the years, I obviously have seen many changes, particularly in terms of the focus. Initially, there was a strong academic orientation, not only in terms of Dr. Wheatley's sermons, but also in terms of programs and opportunities that were available to people in the congregation. Gradually, the focus has changed to a ministry of outreach and service to humanity. These are the kinds of programs that attracted me to Westwood Church. And if I were talking to a visitor or a prospective member, I would like to share my own experiences by saying that through the years, I've taught Sunday school classes to junior and senior high school youth, as well as adult Bible study through the Bethel series. I co-taught the youth confirmation class for probably 10 years.
Wow.
And participated in the Stephen Ministry program as both a Stephen minister and a Stephen leader. I've served as a member and chairman of Youth Council and secretary to the church's administrative council. Currently, I'm on the staff parish relations committee and involved in the mission team. Being interested in outreach projects, I participated in 7 week-long mission trips to Louisiana and Mississippi following the devastation of Hurricane Katrina.
Really? How many people went on those trips?
The first one was it was part of the conference effort. And there were 8 districts in the conference, and 2 districts each took one of the weeks during April, which was the month when Bishop Swenson was born. Her birthday was So the first one that I went on was there were about 60 people from Los Angeles and San Diego districts. And the others were mainly through Hollywood United Methodist Church. And then those we went to Gulfport, Mississippi. Thank you. And then Ellen Evans Agee organized a trip for our group, our church, one year to New Orleans, and it was between Christmas and New Year's. In fact, we were actually there over the New Year's holiday.
And so you said you went seven one-week
times.
trips.
And that also included my organizing a youth group for the service project during spring break a few years ago in conjunction with Echo Park United Methodist Church. recently, I became involved in another project which our United Methodist Women's Unit has adopted, and that is Imagine Los Angeles Without Homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
In talking with prospective church members, I would share information about the variety of opportunities, including the follow-up sessions that are held each Sunday morning after the worship service, as well as our loft services, which offer an alternative to the traditional service in the sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on and a lot to offer for all different flavors. And even though you have, shared that you have this sense that there's been kind of a shift from academic to more humanitarian or service outreach, my experience, Betty, is that it's still very, I don't necessarily know if I would say academic, but definitely very well informed and educated in both those who are presenting and those who are attending.
Absolutely. I could not agree more, David.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Part of the history or legacy of Westwood is some really high-quality publications, and one of those is called the Spire. And I have heard through Pastor John that you, have carried that torch and that mantle for a long time over the years in terms of being a leader or editor for it. Tell me a little bit about the history of the Spire over the last 50-plus years.
Okay. I think it was in the late 1980s, there was an opportunity to apply for the position of Spire editor. And I had always been interested in journalism, starting in junior high school, where I was the assistant editor of our monthly school newspaper, and then continuing in high school, where I was selected editor of our weekly high school newspaper. Then early in my teaching career, I was asked if I would be interested in teaching journalism, which I did for 12 years prior to becoming a school administrator. Those were memorable years as I worked with the best and the brightest ninth graders at Marina Del Rey Junior High School in West Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. We produced monthly issues of the school newspaper and the yearbook, as well as a creative writing magazine. As a school administrator, my school duties were challenging, but I realized that something was missing, and editing the weekly church newsletter, The Spire, filled that gap. So after school each Tuesday afternoon, I would drive to church and spend somewhere between 3 and 4 hours compiling the newsletter, which looked far different from it a few years later. But although I was using the computer, and we were using WordPerfect at the time, my skills were limited, which meant that I was typing an article, then cutting and pasting the copy into 2 columns, and looking for photos and graphics to fill in. I can't believe how much it's changed. But and at that time, there were some regular features, always a column from the senior pastor, and then on a rotating basis, columns submitted by the associate pastor, the youth and children's minister, the director of music, and or the director of the Wesley Foundation at UCLA. Additional items included a column entitled Among Our Friends, which focused on joys, concerns, and prayer requests from various church members, as well as committee and council updates, notices of upcoming events and activities, and biographical sketches of a variety of church members. As the years progressed, the church moved forward and installed Microsoft Word to replace WordPerfect. Thanks to support from Peggy Convey, who was a church secretary at the time, and Don Nelson, the church treasurer, as well as other technological experts, I gradually adapted to Word and even enjoyed working with it. At one point, the decision was made to change from the weekly publication of the Spire to bi-monthly, and I remained the editor. Many happy memories of those days remain with me, especially the opportunity to interact with many church members in a variety of ways. I'm very thankful for that experience, as well as the opportunity to write for the current Spire magazine, which is edited by David Trotter.
You have seen so many changes. That's amazing. From weekly, which is this is not the worship guide or church bulletin. This is a full-blown printed newsletter, so to speak. Every week.
It was basically the church bulletin.
It was handed out on Sunday morning?
No, actually it was mailed at that point.
Yeah, okay, but then something else was handed out on Sunday morning in terms of the liturgy.
Right, the worship guide, which I was not involved with that at all.
Yeah. So this is a weekly publication. That is a huge amount of work. And then it went to, you said, every other week?
Every other week, right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then at some point, obviously, it went to, just recently we were doing, I guess Greg Norton was doing monthly and then several times a year, kind of an expanded version of it.
Right, exactly. And when I was doing it, David, it was anywhere between probably 4 and 8 pages, depending upon how much copy I had.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes a full page would be an announcement of some all-church activity or conference level, district level meeting or event. So I wasn't literally typing everything.
Yeah, but it just takes, I know, the amount of work to organize and make sure everybody's got their stuff in on time and put it together and get it printed.
One of the challenges, of course, was getting people to turn their materials in on time.
You know, that's funny, Betty, because we're 50 years later and there's still challenges with that.
Yeah, right. And I'm guilty as well. I didn't even reply to your email.
Yeah, so what an amazing legacy not only does Westwood have, but you have in ministry. And I love how you have continued to participate in the Spire and other ministries and activities throughout all of those transitions. You have found ways to invest and participate and do your part. I love that. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, if you were to think about the next 5 to 10 years, you know, we've looked back a bit. Now, if you look forward, say 5 or 10 years, what would you hope or dream for Westwood? Well,
actually, looking ahead 5 to 10 years for the future of Westwood United Methodist Church, I found to be a challenge. I wonder what the world will be like in 2021 or 2026. I certainly hope that our church membership will continue to grow in numbers, as I believe that the mission and vision of our church is a very significant one. I hope that the emphasis on outreach, not only to our members, but also to people whom we may never meet in lands far away, will continue. Our church's participation in MCOR, United Methodist Committee on Relief, is vital. Whether it's helping people with building homes in our own community through Habitat for Humanity, traveling to flood-ravaged areas like Louisiana and Mississippi, building health kits to aid victims of earthquakes in South America or tsunamis in Japan, even helping with our financial commitment. I also look forward to a time when the members who attend the sanctuary worship service and those choosing the loft service can experience more interaction, as well as the continued support of the Wesley Foundation at UCLA. It's always good to dream, especially when these dreams can become a reality.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, we do not know what our world will look like 5 or 10 years from now.
Right.
But I'm very confident that Westwood will not only be a part of that world, but continuing to make a difference in all the ways that you talked about. There's a rich legacy, and you're continuing to participate as it morphs and shapes, and your fingerprints are all over it in a really beautiful way. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Bette, I'm honored to hear part of your story, and I know people will be excited to get to know you more. So thanks for taking a few minutes. Appreciate it.
Thank you, David.